regular meeting of the IDA. Maria, we'll do the roll call, please.
Sherry Boye,
Present.
James Ellis,
Here.
Archie McKee,
Here.
Melissa Mills is absent, Nate Manette,
Here.
Clyde Rabideau is absent, Nick Russell,
Here.
also present, Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, Paul Ellis, and Harry Gordon, who's the chair of Franklin County Land Bank.
Hi, Harry.
Hi, Sherry.
This is Clyde Rabideau. I am here.
Oh, where's
Oh.
Clyde? In person?
No.
No, not in person.
So you're on Zoom, Clyde. Thank you very much. I did not see you.
Hey, Clyde.
It's okay. Hey,
Okay, let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Motion to accept the agenda, delete, replace items, anything to that effect on the agenda. If not, we'll assume the agenda is as written. Public comment? Any public comment? If none, we'll move on to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. We've got a number of them that we have to approve. And they are the meeting minutes of November 13, December 13, December 23, and January 10, and January 23 of 24. Let's take them each one at a time. The meeting minutes of December 13th, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Melissa to approve.
Yeah, I think I'll work.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, we'll assume, so December 13th will stand as is. All in favor of approving those minutes from December 13th of 2023, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approve. December 21, 23. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Sherry?
Sherry? Second?
I'll second it.
Nate?
Second, Nate. Any discussion? If not, we'll assume that a vote is in order to accept minutes of December 21, 23. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting of January 10, 24. Motion to approve meeting minutes of January 10 of 2024.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sherry, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Nate. Discussion? There being none, we'll assume that a vote is in order for the minutes of January 10. All in favor of accepting those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes of January 23, 2024. Vote to approve the minutes of January 23, 2024. Please signify by making a motion. Got a
I will
motion?
make a motion.
Sherry?
Second.
A second. Archie.
Archie?
I was making sure I was there.
Any discussion? There being none, we'll assume that the minutes minutes of January 23, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, nay. Committee reports. Notice there's gonna be a little difference in committee reports. You'll see that when we get to old business. Governance committee, any report?
I'm not sure what they're like. There's a lot of
Haven't had any meetings.
Okay. If you have nothing to report, please signify by saying that we don't, been nothing to report. That gives us a record on.
Nothing to report, Jim. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Not to worry.
Audit and finance, I don't think we have anything to
Yeah,
report.
audit and finance right now, we're just waiting for the formation of the committee, the complete committee in order to conduct business.
Therefore, we move on to the treasurer's report. Paul?
So you'll notice, well, actually, it'll be in the next meeting. The auditors were in 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point. They've asked that the meeting for March be moved a week later than it normally is, and I think Jeremy has either conveyed that or is going to convey it. It works out fine since this meeting came a week later than normal. They overall were pretty pleased with everything. I have to say a lot of thanks to Rachel. One of the areas that's always been a challenge for the auditors kind of working through has been the grant program, because money comes and goes for multiple programs over multiple years. And Rachel has done a great job getting a lot of that old stuff caught up and getting us current. And she is very adept at spreadsheets and organization, and she was able to provide the auditors with some really good, information. She came in, met with them. A big step forward this year just because of, Rachel's efforts on the grants. Nothing too unusual, in the preliminary discussion with the auditors. And we'll be getting, the report, sometime close to the next meeting in March. And they will participate in the next meeting via Zoom, most likely, to present the audit. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Very good. Is there anything you want to say about the this month's report, Paul? Treasurer's report?
No, not really.
Okay.
What's the association dues?
With
We didn't have them last year, we have them this year. 1,750, line 5141. I think that's what it's under, or yeah, it must be.
Yeah, that would be, I think, Jeremy's association dues.
And we didn't have those the prior
Yeah,
year?
we've always had them. It might have gotten just paid in a different month.
Oh, okay.
That might have been, was that the New York Economic Development Council? We might have paid this month. No, I don't remember exactly.
You got any questions on the treasurer's report? If not, we'll accept the motion to accept the treasurer's report. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sherry. Second?
I'll second.
Second, Archie?
Nick.
Or Nick, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Further discussion or any discussion? If none, please signify by saying aye if you approve.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay? You guys have it. CEO report. Jeremy.
Thanks, Jim. Just two items. So I had I asked Maria to print out a what's called the North Country Alliance Education and Outreach Agenda. And I can share this by email with everybody. It was kind of a last minute ask. Just as a quick refresher, I am a board member for the North Country Alliance, which is a nonprofit organization that covers the North Country region. The purpose of the alliance is regional economic development, primarily through a loan fund. And so I'm on the board of directors, just like all of my colleagues in the different counties are. And we just had a meeting today where this education and outreach agenda was ratified for 2024. So I thought I would share it with the board just to see some of the regional issues that the organization is going to be talking to state legislative representatives about. When you look through the agenda, nothing will be surprising, right? Housing, workforce, childcare, broadband, tourism, higher education, prison closures, climate action and infrastructure are the main topics that we are going to highlight with our legislative representatives. I'm not going to read the rest of this, but I just wanted to share it with you, just so you know that there are, these are shared concerns, shared challenges that we face across the North Country. And one of the goals for the Alliance is to make sure people at regional and state level understand some of the unique challenges we face in the North Country. So I'll share that by email so everybody has it, but I want to just share that really quickly. And then my second CEO item is more of a question. So for a long time, I've been pretty regularly, almost weekly, providing the board and staff with a weekly update by email. And I find it helpful, at least for me, to just kind of do a check-in and see how we've done over the week and the highlights of what we've accomplished. But I wanted to ask whether or not the board would prefer to get maybe a more robust monthly written CEO report versus the weekly emails. It's just something I've been going back and forth in my head about, and I'm curious which the board might find more useful.
What do you mean by more robust?
It would just be a monthly written report that would just be shared with the board.
Same goals.
Same at the monthly meeting or with the packet instead of the weekly emails.
I like weekly.
I like weekly.
I think it keeps us all informed. I mean,
Yeah.
do I read every week? No, I skim, depending on how busy I am. But I prefer that than trying to catch up all at once at the month end, or I'm sorry, monthly meeting. So
Yeah, I like the weekly.
You know, I'm better only being a week behind.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So we'll continue on with doing the weekly emails. No problem doing that. Good. And I'm glad that everyone's at least skimming. And even if you're a week behind, that's okay too. I'm glad that they are useful to everybody. That's all I have today, Jim.
Thank you, Jeremy. Old business. First thing I want to talk about is, I'm going to flip B first and then go to A. Last
Sergeant.
meeting, I asked if
Okay.
we had a particular preference for committee assignments. I heard from Archie,
Minutes?
and I also heard from Archie. And I also heard from
Say-
Archie. Thank you,
Say
Archie.
again.
You're the only one. So I guess
I'm in
I
trouble
didn't
or?
discuss with Jeremy about the need for all of these different committees that we had. Some of them worked in terms of having stuff to do, and others didn't. For example, so I don't want to lose sight of what we are trying to do as an IDA. We have to include one of the biggest industries in Franklin County is agriculture, but we have little work to do as far as being a committee report each week. So I would like to suggest that we have basically 3 committees: the Governance and Anti-Harassment Committee, the Audit and Finance Committee, and the Loan Committee. And I'm proposing that on each of these 3, we have Nate Manette as chairman of the Governance and Anti-Harassment, Clyde Rabideau and Nick Russell as members. Audit and Finance, Archie McKee as chair, Melissa as a member, Melissa Mills, and a membership for Nick Russell on that particular committee. Then finally, the Loan Committee, I would suggest that we have Sherry as chairman, Melissa Mills as a member, and Clyde Rabideau as a member. Now, the loan committee it's good for us to have a standing committee, I think, because when we start dealing with loans and things that we get into stuff that we may want to take a couple or 3 short meetings of the committee, either by telephone or in person, to come up with a suggestion or with a proposal to the whole board. All of these items that I'm talking about really depends on final approval by the 7-person board that we have. So therefore, I'd like to call those ad hoc committees that may have to meet at various times for other things. For example, agriculture, or for downtown revitalization, or any of the other things that we have to deal with as an IDA. Ad hoc committee basically is going to be, okay, we have this to do. Who wants to volunteer to go through the footwork to get this ready to bring to the board? Is that that's something that I'd like to suggest to you, and see if there's any particular discussion that you want to carry on. So the floor is open.
Miss Archie, I'm curious, at least in around the Malone area, we've had, as far as I know, and I could be wrong here, 3 farms that have recently, and when I say recently, I'm talking in the, like say the past 3 years or so, spent a great deal of money improving their situation. And we've had very few discussions about those farms, and I say you have to consider them businesses. I don't think they're feeding those cows just for the fun of it. But have we ever done anything to support them, or what can we do to help them at all? Do we have
You
anything?
remember the video that we did?
For
with the
Carsata.
farm up here, Carsata?
Yeah.
That was just last year, I think, wasn't it? The Carsata video?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Promote local.
And I know out on the Bernardsville Road,
Philos.
Philos, I don't know how much money they've spent.
Papa's Dairy is doing a big renovation right now as well, aren't
I
you?
read
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
They're putting in the,
They're doing the rotary parlor. Yep.
So, similar to what
Same thing.
Philos did. What are we capable of offering them? Are they tax exempt
Yes.
yes,
already?
Yes.
yes.
Agriculture.
They've apparently made arrangements for their own money to go out and get whatever help they need to perform. Sherry might know better because she's in that business, so to speak, but
I know Bilo's contracted with,
Somehow National Grid is involved in that one, because Joe Russo called when that was first getting set up.
some agriculture, like
Oh, it's probably
big brand,
Farm Family or something.
milk and cheese. It's a company that actually,
Agrimark or whatever.
not Agrimark, but something like
Was it
that.
Cabot, maybe?
I cannot, no. But basically, so the contract, I believe, this is what I heard, all the milk that's shipped out, they get a percentage of the proceeds of everything. And of course, payments, so. I'm sure they got a good deal. And I think this company has the rights to all of the product. So they may use it or ship it out to whoever they have contracts with. I don't know.
Back to Archie's point though, I'm very, very close friends with the Poopors, Papa's Dairy here in Malone. I spend quite a deal of time with them, and it is interesting to see maybe there is a grant or some kind of program out there where we could help them out, and that's interesting.
Because if they're doing it, funding it like Farm Family or
Correct.
something.
And I know they are. I know there's some self-funding there, so that's interesting.
It's a really good question, Archie.
pardon?
It's a really, really good question, and I think the other members have alluded to some of the dynamics. So one of the challenges we have helping with some of our programs is the scale of these operations are so big that there's only so much we can do as a small agency. And like was mentioned, the tax structures for agricultural businesses are different than regular businesses. So it's just, it's kind of a different dynamic. we do have a couple of goals and a couple of things we're working on at the small scale with small ag operations. We have a goal of, we want to find an agricultural business this year and that we can deal with, kind of like we did with Prairie's Orchards last year. But that's on the small scale. So
Yeah.
we definitely want to be in that space. And we've been working with Cooperative Extension recently to think through how we can partner together on doing outreach to some of the smaller agricultural businesses and find ways to assist them.
Yeah, we're in an area that seems to really thrive with the maple syrup business, especially this time of the year. So that might even be something, Jeremy, that's on our level of playing field where we can help out with agriculture and
That's a really good example. Yep, it's that kind of scale. Yep.
Is there anything in the proposal that you brought to us from the North Country Alliance for agriculture per se? I didn't notice it. Of course, I read it.
Not per se, because a lot of those challenges are statewide. They're not that agriculture is facing. It's not necessarily limited to the North Country.
Right. We have some opportunities, but I think they have to become, I guess you'd sort of suspect there'd be more things like niche opportunities. Things like the person doing the Myers down in Fort Covington, the cheese.
Yes. Right.
The artisan cheese type thing.
Yep.
People that may be doing farm markets, and I think that's one of the things that I think during the summer we could really, if there was some kind of mechanism we had for putting out farm products in farm markets, especially in tourism areas like Saranac Lake and Tupper Lake, more than just once a week.
Yes.
And that's something that I think that kind of an effort is what I think we can, can handle well because it's small.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
Well, very good. Any further discussion? Back to the business at hand on the whole business. Do you all agree that we don't really need all the committees that we had before?
I agree with that. I thought it was pretty excessive. I think part of the bank before it's a multi-billion-dollar organization, and we didn't have anywhere near that many committees. So I thought it was kind of overdone. I kind of like your suggestion to try to consolidate some of the committees if possible.
Yeah, I think, Nick, one of the problems that we've had is that we really want people to be involved as board members in whatever's going on. And that was the original thrust. But then as we looked at it it's only been a 1-year operation so far. And as Jeremy and I looked at it and said, there's really, if we're going to do a good job, we really should do it on focus. That in the the three standing committees that we have are good focus. Governance and anti-harassment, which we're required to have by state law, and audit and finance, which we are also required to have by state law. The only one we're not required to have is loan committee, but I thought it would be, I'm just suggesting, if that's okay with everybody here, that the loan committee be established as a standing committee so that as things come in, instead of holding stuff up, we can, begin to move it.
Right.
That's important. I guess I'm sorry.
No, I'm just curious as to, I'm noticing that the 3 chairmen are situated in the northern part of the county. Is there any issue with that? Southern part of the county didn't, other than membership on the committees, didn't become a chairman.
Yeah, I don't think the chairman's role is the same as it is with the county board. They do a good job of screwing things up just as it is. So why don't we just?
I'm good at that. So.
let's just say the chairman, basically, the term chairman is there to fulfill a requirement to call a meeting together. But I tried to sprinkle each of these 3 committees with people that have backgrounds in that particular area. So, but I recently thought, RT, I have to agree. I used to get a little bit exercised when I noticed how sometimes the south end would be neglected. But I don't think we do that here. I think we do a pretty good job of trying to spread things around. In fact, Tupper Lake, I can only speak of Tupper Lake because people will tell me how much they enjoy going into our office in Tupper Lake and talking to Rachel. So if this is all right with you, then I think what I would like to do is ask for approval of going to 3 committees, as indicated by the memberships that I indicated earlier. 3 committees being government and anti-harassment, which it has to be a standing committee, audit and finance, which has to be a standing committee by state law, and then finally a third, which is not required by state law, but I think is extremely important. It's the loan committee.
And it is called for in our bylaws.
Pardon me?
The loan committee is required in the bylaws
Standing committee?
for the loan, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's EDC also, so
Yeah.
we don't need it for IDA,
Right.
but
Well, that's,
point taken.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Better make a note of that too.
So do
Okay.
we need a motion?
Yes.
I'll
Archie
make a
made-
motion.
Archie?
Yep.
Archie moves that we go to the 3 committees as indicated, earlier in the meeting, government anti-harassment and audit finance and loan, as members were announced at that time. All those in favor of going to the 3 committees, please signify by saying aye.
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 Hey, fine, the ayes have it. Very good. New business. Resolution 2024-03, Bionic Testing Laboratories LLC, project authorization.
Do it first and second, or do you want me to provide a description first?
Well, let's do the description first.
Okay. So as everybody knows, we've been working with Bionic Testing Laboratories. They have their existing 10,000 square foot building at the Harrietstown Business Park in Lake Clear. And they also they rent office space in downtown Saranac Lake. They've seen tremendous growth over the last several years and are in need of a pretty large expansion. The expansion project will dwarf the existing building and allow them to have the space they need to continue to grow. So they reached out to us several months ago seeking benefits through the IDA. We held an initial resolution. We approved the initial resolution, I believe it was in October. And then after that, I've been working with the company to come up with appropriate proposed benefits. We came to terms on those at the beginning of the year. And then just a couple weeks ago, as you know, we held the required public hearing. Has to be held within the town where the project is proposed. So it was held at the Saranac Lake Civic Center. Clyde was able to attend along with legislator Lindy Ellis and then several company representatives and also the Harrietstown supervisor, Jordana Melick. Anytime after the public hearing is held, the board of directors may consider an authorizing resolution. And that is what is in front of you. That's resolution 24-03. And the resolution describes the project and references a number of required exhibits to demonstrate that the project meets the requirements of state law for issuing benefits, and also lays out the particulars. So in this project, they would anticipate receiving a sales tax exemption and also a payment in lieu of tax agreement. In the packet, we provided the application that they submitted along with the proposed cost benefit analysis that lays out the schedule and anticipated exemptions that would be provided through the project. I think as we've talked about before, the proposed project is a 15-year pilot, and we've done a lot of renewable energy projects where there's the base value of the land plus a per megawatt charge that is added together to get the pilot payment. This is more of a traditional pilot project where there's, the new value that comes from the improvements, and then the pilot actually exempts a certain amount of that value over a number of years. So when you look at I don't know what page it is, but when you look at the cost benefit spreadsheet that is in the packet and which has previously shared with the board, the proposed pilot is 15 years. And for the first 6 years, 5 years, there would be a 100% exemption on the added value. Then that steps down to 75% for 2 years, then 50%, and then finally 25%. So there's the base value of the property that the payments would continue on. Once the project's completed, the new assessed value would be fully exempt for a number of years, step down over time.
Jeremy, this is Archie. Something sounds odd to me, and that has to do with the progression of the pilot payment and the inclusion of the improvements. And you said it goes from 0 to 75 and then later back down to 50?
I might have misspoken. It starts at 100% exemption of the added value. Then it steps down to 75, then 50, then 25.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense to me.
This is, by the way, did anybody raise any questions? Does Bionique still use the old Paul Smith's building as their office?
No, their office space is on the second floor of the adjacent building owned by the village. The red
With the old the
water
powerhouse,
building.
is what I call the powerhouse.
Next to that,
Right.
yes,
okay.
yes.
And, did anybody raise any questions about the proposed Adirondack Park Agency moving into Saranac Lake?
Not related. This is unrelated to that.
Okay, that's the question.
Yep. So if the board so chooses to approve this resolution, that would authorize myself, Harris Beach, to work with the applicant to do all the closing documents and allow them to continue with their project.
Wait, I have one other question.
Okay.
I noticed the difference between jobs, new jobs is only 5. Based on what? Based on what we're giving them or based on the total project?
As far as the number of jobs they're creating?
Yeah, it says new jobs are 5, existing jobs.
You don't think I can pull that off?
I don't know.
I think they've got the 43 currently.
Right. They say they got 47.
47?
Yeah. And including here, new jobs. In other words, is it really 52 total at the end of the project? Or are we talking about 5 new jobs for that particular?
52 total would be the after within a couple of years. We asked them to give us the new job creation over the next 3 years.
Okay.
That's it. After that, they could do more, but we only asked for the first 3 years after the project's complete.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions?
And to that point, so there's two things I would mention in all of my discussions with the company. Well, 3 things. They've grown significantly over the last several years, and so it's my feeling that we are, with these types of benefits, actually helping to preserve those jobs, so that they can stay here and expand their footprint and make sure that their presence is solidified. So for me, it's not just about the creation of the new jobs; it's about preserving the existing they've been growing.
Yeah.
And I, in numerous discussions with the CEO Gladys, they were very conservative on the number of jobs that they indicated that they would create over 3 years. but their actual growth plans are significantly higher. But they did not want to misrepresent or overestimate what they put for their commitment over the next 3 years.
One of the questions I think we have to keep in mind, as you know, the only municipal power system in Franklin County is Upper Lake. And I'm not sure, but I think we use that as a selling tool for any business. I'm not talking about buying, but any business that is looking to move in with either a large group of jobs or planning on creating new jobs. Upper Lake's municipal power is on a firm allocation from the hydro,
Yep.
the hydro people down in Messina. I think we have something like 1,900, maybe 2,100 now, kilowatts that are guaranteed.
Yep.
On the other hand, if we had something that was going to create a demand for a robust increase in hydro or electric power, we can go to the New York State Power Authority and ask for a special allotment that wouldn't impact homeowners who, for example, use electricity to heat or electric hot water or whatever. But in other words, it takes it out of the households and puts it aside for industrial stuff.
That's right.
And I think it's a tool for us to have in our quill so that we're able to offer all sorts of stuff. Rates that
That's a really good point.
yeah, and I think it's a key piece. So with all of that in mind, I think we're ready to vote, or at least bring it up for discussion. I have a motion to put resolution 2024-03, the Bionic Testing Laboratories LLC project authorization on the floor. A motion, please.
I'll move it.
Moved by Nick, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? There being no further discussion, we'll assume the question's been moved. And Maria, would you please call the roll? We'll do a roll call vote.
Yes, for 2024-03 Bionique, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes?
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Melissa Mills is absent, Nate Manette.
Yes.
Clyde Rabideau. And Nick Russell.
Yes.
Okay, it's duly adopted.
Is Clyde on?
I don't believe,
Might not
he didn't answer. He wouldn't be able to anyway because he's not on video.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Very good. Thank you. We'll now move on to resolution 2024-04, authorizing the execution of our Malone office lease. That motion, put it on the floor, please.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Nate, resolution 2024-04, authorizing execution of Malone office lease agreement. Motion made by Nate, second.
I'll second it, Archie.
Archie, seconds. Discussion.
So there's an increase built in every year, a percentage. I didn't see that in the first half of it. It just talks about the term, 5 years, can be renewable up to 2 times. But then I look at the rents and they go up every year. Is there a percentage used? I don't even see it.
It's 2%, Sherry, and what the attorneys did was just calculate the 2% and just put the actual amounts in using 2% under subsection 3.
Good question. Further questions? There being none, Chair will assume that we're ready to vote. Roll.
2024-04 execution of Malone office lease agreement. Sherry Boye,
Yeah.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Melissa Mills is absent, Nate Manette,
Yes.
Clyde Rabideau is absent, Nick Russell,
Yes.
Okay, duly adopted.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Now we go to resolution 2024-05, authorizing furniture purchase from loan offices. That was put there because it follows logically on whether or not we're gonna execute the lease agreement. Now that we have a space, we got to put some furniture in it. Ready? Anything you care?
No, not unless there's questions. We
Yeah,
don't.
well, all right. Do we have a motion on the floor to approve 2024-05, authorizing furniture purchases for the Malone office? I have a motion.
Thing in here that I inserted.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Nate,
I'll second.
second by Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, question. I like as we're trying to use a mixture of what we already have and what we can get from county and also a purchase of some new stuff. So, ready for questions? Anyone? There being no questions, we'll assume that we're ready to vote on 2024-05, authorizing furniture purchases for the Malone offices. Maria?
Okay, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Melissa Mills is absent, Nate Manette,
Yes.
Clyde Rabideau is absent, Nick Russell,
Yes.
duly adopted.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. There is no need for executive session as I see. We'll move on now to public comment, if there's any.
Great setup.
If none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the IDA regular meeting for this month.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Motion by Nate, second.
File.
Who's second?
Second.
Who's second?
I'll second.
Oh.
All in favor
I
of adjournment?
I have a question.
Well, Archie has a question, Jim.
Where is it appropriate to talk about the MCM building?
That's in the, we should do that in executive
In
session.
EDC.
In IDA or
No,
EDC?
EDC.
Okay.